all the lights will be able to be turned on and off from the touchscreen.
Okay.
And again, there's another one on the other side. There is also a divider, so whenever the whole space is being utilized, they're going to act the same way. Whenever the divider is up, they'll act as their separate spaces.
Automatically. Wow,
Yeah.
pretty fancy.
So this is the, it's called the Eclipse. This is the system controller. It's kind of the brains of everything. This is what all of the common areas on all the floors are being controlled by.
So if power goes out or we have an alarm, fire alarm, what is the system normally going to do?
So if the power goes out, there is an internal battery. So it will keep its solid state program.
How long does the battery last?
I believe 30 days is what they,
Oh.
It's considerable.
Okay.
And I can verify with that and give you
It's like days.
Oh,
It'll last for
it's
days.
It's days.
That's sweet.
And then in terms of fire alarm, there are some emergency fixtures. So in the event of a power outage or a fire alarm, loss of power, those emergency fixtures will go to full bright for egress.
Yeah, the 33, the lobby, that's that main common area down there. The elevator vestibule, so that's going to be kind of, and I'm labeling where it comes out to up here,
Okay.
where it actually is. So that'll be the residential lobby, 135 corridor, 235 corridor, 335 corridor, 335 lobby, 435 corridor, and then 435, I think that should say lobby, so I'll relabel that. So it's, that'll kind of tell you what port it is, and then you'll go in there and find that in the software.
There's a time frame, so when nobody's at the station,
Okay.
it's set for that, and then it's like 10 minutes. So
10 minutes, it'll go to sleep.
it'll go to sleep, and then we can log back on. But again, that's just entering that password. It's not like a computer. It's just a Hikvision server, so it's not like you have to go through a bunch of things to get to this.
Okay.
This is essentially it. The server will automatically turn back on in the event of a power outage.
So no rebooting.
So no
required.
not having
Hard.
to
Right.
hit the button on the front like a PC would be. So I'll give you the login information for this one. Is this computer also going to remain in here for the access control portion?
For the RHA side, yes, but
Okay.
we'd also still be able to remotely log on.
Okay. So if you had remote desktop, you could essentially do that with your IT department and have it set up from another computer. The CanTech is you'd have to purchase another additional license for every workstation that you want to have with the access control. And if that's something you want to do, that's fine too. Just let us know. We'll have to purchase another license if you want to put this software as a workstation on another computer, or you can just have IT do remote desktop and gain into this. And then that way you can take your fobs and program them wherever you want. Again, you have desktop 1 here. If I click on that, that's going to show your log report. So you can scroll back and see kind of activity of when someone came in. If you want to find out a particular incident, when that happened, matched up to the cameras and the camera time, you can do that through the log report. Mainly you guys are just going to be here in the users under card, and you can click new, and essentially you're just going to enter the resident's name and then take a fob out of here, enter that number on this information here, and once that's done you'll click save, and now you can take that fob and go to any door to gain access. So we'd have to put the Hikvision software, which would be IVMS software, and we'd have to put that on a computer downstairs in order to access these cameras.
I'm Avery Smith. I'm with Costco Fire. We installed your fire alarm system here as well as the area of refuge, which is not complete. We're still waiting on a phone line, but realistically, this can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. This is your notifier 3030 panel, and this is your AES radio. It is monitored by Pacific Fire and Security. This right here is one of your NAC panels. You have other ones, one on every single floor going up, and then this is just document box. Realistically, all you need to know is if the panel's beeping, it's because there's a trouble or a supervisory or an alarm. Realistically, you're just gonna push acknowledge here and it's gonna silence the panel. If you hit silence, signal silence, if the whole building's ringing out, it's gonna stop and you're gonna be investigated for it by the fire department. I mean, it's fine to do if you know it's a false alarm, but other than that, just walk away from it. It's a direct copy of that panel over there. So when that's beeping, this is beeping, and it's got the exact same buttons here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No silence buttons on this, I would assume, right?
There is acknowledge is going to make the panel stop beeping.
Okay.
Silence is going to
Dislocate
make
it.
the building stop making
Gotcha.
noise.
This was installed here in our vestibule where it really should have been installed on the residential side. If it's after hours and a weekend, you will not have access to this notifier.
Okay.
You will have access to the fire panel to be Renton Regional Fire, but you won't have access to this
Gotcha.
space. Renton Regional is going to.
This is where the Knox box is now.
Correct.
Is this where the fire department's pulling up?
Most likely they're gonna be here on campus.
Okay, so they'll probably come through this door and then do most of their stuff here.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is your neck panel. This is what's doing your strobes and also damper. This is all damper controls, and then I've got the elevator doors as well coming off of this. The doors that drop. It's all general alarm, but realistically, you don't need to know any of this other than the batteries need to be replaced every 2 years.
Okay, gotcha.
We do have a manual timer that is set up in the top right above us here that we can set so we can turn off and on during business hours and then turn off when nobody's in here. Full circ pump on this one as well to keep hot water on demand. And all your main shutoffs are located in here.
Clean out is servicing
The
residential.
main, that is the main for the roof drains.
Okay.
So all of the ones that were called out on the prints for an actual clean out are the ones that we did put wall covers on. So they're still accessible, you still know right where they're at
Okay.
on the end of our lines. And then after 100 feet or 135 degrees, we were called out to have them.
Adjustability on those? I'm sure it'll be the.
There is
O and
adjustability,
M.
but when you're wearing high vis, if you get close to it like that, it's gonna turn on every single time.
All right, nicely done. Slow flush-o-matics and the manual override.
Pressure coming in, pressure going out.
Perfect.
That's pretty much all that is your rib wise strainer. We've got a valve on there if that ever needs to be flushed out and drained down.
Correct.
And then your
Pressure
reducing valve, yep. And then the track primer for the HUD drain over here and the floor drain that's actually underneath here
Okay.
is located right here.
Super.
And then your end of the line clean out as well.
Okay.
The water room for the bugs.
Okay.
So this would be the main one. This one's gonna shut down everything for the residential above us.
Okay. Super.
It slides out, matches on the hole on the other side, and then the box comes off. It's insulated as well.
Okay.
This main vault here is for the 4-inch, so this is going to be your residential main shutoff here.
Okay.
So these are going to be your RPBPs, both in this one. That's not the actual meter box. The meter boxes are actually located behind us. Correct. You're going to see your access panels in front of pretty much every door. It's going to serve not that unit, but it serves the stack.
Okay.
So it's going to be all of them. Inside these panels, it does list what they are. It was even written on the door itself until we got the actual tag. So when you flip it down, if the tag flipped around backwards, it's still right there for you to read. You're gonna see one extra one here because it's for the hose bit that's located out here. That way the shutoff wasn't in someone's unit if it ever needed to be accessed.
Super.
This is your meter stacks. If you have a problem in the units and it trips a breaker, they're all labeled which unit they are. There's a 100 amp breaker in here to reset the breakers. If they do trip, is turn the breaker all the way off and then back up for on. Your photovoltaic.
Yep.
Meter company will come in and set their meter. There is a breaker over here that is currently off. It will be off till these are metering in and George commissions the system.
Okay.
That's the breaker for the line side of the PV system.
Right.
This main breaker right here feeds the panels down by the break room.
Okay.
And this feeds all of these panels on this side.
Okay.
Okay, so then they're all labeled what they feed and where they go. Oh, this is the elevator.
Okay.
And pardon the mess in here. Kind of give you an idea of components. This is utility, CT can, you have nothing to do in there. There's nothing in there for anybody. Their meter, anything you need is right here, and it literally controls the elevators and the elevator panel. So this is C2. This particular set of panels pretty much covers the power on this end of the building on level 1. Controlled, those are running off the occupancy sensor for the room. So when people leave, the occupancy sensor kicks off. That bottom half of that outlet's gonna shut off.
Okay.
So if you have computers or something like that on it, they're gonna shut off.
Okay.
Okay? So those are mainly for lights. This panel feeds the other smaller panels out on the floor.
Okay.
C2, C3, and R1. All feeds off of this panel setup. This is C1 here. C2 is the big 2-gang panel in the closet.
Right.
Over in the boardroom. C3 was in the small server room.
Okay.
Those are all fed off of here as well as R1.
Okay.
And those are fed out of this panel. This panel covers mainly lighting on this end of the building, with the exception of the room where R1 is, the flex space. And that'll cover lighting and outlets. Pretty much come out of this panel. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
This is L2H. This powers all your laundries, common areas on level 2 and 3. So all your kitchen area and all that's powered off of this panel here. Level 4 panel, same situation, but it covers all the rooftop equipment in level 4. And this is a disconnect for your water heater on level 2.
Okay.
So, and this is a fuse disconnect. So there are fuses in here for that water heater.
Valve, if we close it all the way here, it's gonna stop because it's on test. Pull the tap out, straight up and down, utilizing the full 1.25 drain, okay? That's the flow switch, tampered, gauge, things like that, so. The reason that pinhole's on there is for the safety of the fire department. They don't want to pull off a cap in the event that there was a fire and right and hook up their hoses. They don't want that cap to fall out and hit them right and just blast off with the pressure. So if they see there's a pinhole and there's no water, they know there's no pressure on the system.
Without a plug being installed there, if somebody came by and hit this valve, they'll basically trigger the dry system and then water will be pouring out. And then send a signal to roll fire department. So he's gonna cap that. And then if somebody were to open this valve, it's basically not going to cause any major concerns with the system being charged, okay? Because it can't let any of the air out of the system for the flow switch to call for water to dump into it.
So the valves that we have here are all our drip valves, essentially. As far as I can tell, every single valve on site, I'm going to have a total of 14. Currently I have 13. We're waiting for one more over there, but they're all exactly the same. So basically I have a union on both ends, one here and one in this. If for whatever reason somebody happens to get a little excited and they break something, you just unscrew the union, take the whole thing out, and you can do repairs, maintenance, or whatever you wish to do. So with these valves, they all have a ball valve. So let's say the irrigation is running and the dog gets a little curious, chews through the drip line, you're gonna have water coming through. So if it's, obviously this is our controller, this would be the point of emergency shut off. If you ever need to turn off the whole system, there's a little knob in here. Right now, it will always be set up as auto. During the winter season, whoever is in charge of maintenance simply turns it off. Or if they don't wish to do that, they don't have to.
I will have a final rain sensor installed that automatically sends a signal. So in the middle of summer, sometimes the irrigation system is running, and then all of a sudden the next day you get a pouring rain. The rain sensor will automatically send a signal and automatically will shut this off. You don't have to do anything other than simply come in for repairs, as far as I can tell. And then overall with the ball valve, back to what I was saying, let's say a dog does chew through the drip line. All they have to do is go to that specific valve and just shut off the ball valve. And that's it. Everything else continues. It will not impact nothing negatively other than just isolating that one system all on its own. Down to these valves, you have a flow control. All our flows are always on full max, only because you want to have high pressure, especially with the drip line. All of the systems here have a very big drip area they need to cover, right? So you have the flow control, you have the solenoid, and then you have the filter. The water goes in the system, and the system will automatically clear anything out. If you see on top, I don't know if you've seen those vacuums, that whenever the vacuum gets clogged, it automatically sends like a red signal. Same thing here. So if there's ever sand in the system, or they do a repair and they forget to clean it up, this will catch all the gunk that's inside the system. That initial setup will be through here. So once we actually do the final setup, as far as I can tell, it's all drip, so we don't have to be concerned for getting the sidewalk wet or getting pedestrians soaked as well. When it comes to the drip line, we always run it at least 20 minutes. Anything less during the hot summer season, you're gonna get dry plants. So during the summer season, we simply upsize it to maybe 30 minutes.
Okay.
For the most part, I'll have it set up for 25 minutes, some in between. And this is where you have whoever is the maintenance or the owners themselves wish to come out and make adjustments. This is where they will go to specifically the runtime. You go through all the stations, all 14 of them, and it's very simple, right? You simply change the station you wish to adjust. Let's say station 4, and you want to change the time to an extra 40 minutes because it looks really dry. Specifically on the sunny side of the building, you're gonna need to probably adjust it a little bit. Well, obviously we're not in the summer, so I'm not able to adjust those things for you. But down the line, it'll be the same process. You go through all the valves and then adjust the time that you wish to increase. You want to give it an extra 30 minutes, you're more than welcome to do that. And then the runtime is something that we do only once or twice a year. In most cases, once you actually set up for 1 year, you'll be able to tell whether or not we have enough water, if we need to make adjustments. I'm more than willing to come out as well and re-educate if that is something that's necessary. So pretty much these levers, they always have to be facing each other. If they're facing up or down, that means that it is not on. That's an example. That word there indicates that it's closed. So these levers make sure they're always facing each other. This is also another way for if, God forbid, there's ever a car accident here in the property and there's a broken line, this is the place you go to shut the water off for the entire property.
Okay.
So this is provided as the first fail safe, and then you have the flow control that we still need to adjust accordingly to make sure the system runs efficiently. One of the issues that we have with drip line is something if the pressure is too high, it will burst the lines. So we're adjusting the pressure, testing everything out. But this would be the second fail-safe, I guess you could say, to make sure everything's working efficiently. If for whatever reason there is too much pressure, there's the place that we go to reduce the pressure for the rest of the system. Our system is set up to install nothing more than 40 PSI. The current city water, I think the last time I measured it, it was at 100. This one drops it down to 80. This one drops it down to 40. So we're slowly reducing the pressure as we get to an appropriate. And then you have our double check. This is something we install ourselves. And it works the same way as it does with that one. You also have a quick coupler if for whatever reason you wish to attach a hose. You attach it directly onto this. It's currently locked. We're providing you guys the locks for you. But you attach a quick coupler key and the hose, and you can wash the sidewalk or whatever you guys wish to wash. And we attach it directly after this because anything after the master route will not work unless the system is on. So by having this installed before the master route, you're able to, in the middle of the winter, wash something. You don't have to compromise any of the irrigation system. So it will always be available to you whenever you need it. And then you have the master valve. Of all the valves that we have, this is the most important one. Yeah, we have an 1.5-inch master valve. Same thing as the drip, you have a flow control and a solenoid. On this one, you don't need a filter. It's just straight city water running into the whole property. With this master valve it works the same as the regular valves. You have 2 unions. Again, something breaks or it needs replacement, you simply loosen up the unions, pop the whole thing out without having to dig anything out. And then you simply replace it and reinstall it for better uses down the road. And then you have isolation valves. I believe the isolation valve we installed because the owner wishes to add something down the road. So with the isolation valve, we have separated the whole irrigation system from this half of the building to this half of the building. So if they do wish to do some changes or some repairs or whatever they wish to do, they can simply shut off the gate valve and the whole system on this side will still work efficiently. It will. We got cleaner water. So with the water feature, it's set up on a switch pump. If same thing down in the winter, you just need to turn it off, just come and flip the switch and it shuts off the all water feature.
That.
Or that, exactly. So currently the water feature we have 3 valves that control the pressure and how high you wish to have the water running. So, example. So with these ball valves, you can control the height of each individual rock if you want the tall rock to shoot a little higher or a little lower, or the smaller ones to bubble a little bit. Like this is where it's bubbling.
Yeah.
We're able to simply adjust each individual one accordingly to make it more, either more flashy, more noise.
And so what is that, wirelessly, or how does that work?
It's completely wireless. It does have a little battery that needs to be replaced maybe every other year.
Okay.
So on the inside of this, very simple. Just one little battery. It should last you, according to the manufacturer, up to 3 years, but play it safe.
This is everything on the first floor, so even the residential over there.
Okay.
On that side. So,
Okay.
Through the other.
Right, the other entrance, yeah.
Yeah, the other entrance and that. Yes. Yes. The only thing that this does is really the hallways. This panel up here.
Okay.
It's the hallways and that, and it's just a different kind of central controller that this one is. It's pretty basic. I mean, you can see, you know, that obviously, and if you want to operate any of them,
Right.
click on it, operate, on, off, whatever you want to do. If you wanted to do more than just operate it, if you hit the down page, you can prohibit the controller to do whatever you want.
Okay.
And then when you hit set temp, it's just gonna come up with your 2 settings. So Mitsubishi doesn't like them closer than 5 degrees apart. Yeah. Ducted ones, yeah, and you can see the filter panel, and they're always gonna be in the same place on the return. Filters right there. Washable. How they work is if the door opens, it starts a 5-minute timer.
Okay.
And if the door stays open for over 5 minutes, it's going to close a contact that is going to shut off either this unit here,
Right.
or those 2 units in there if those doors are left open.
Okay.
Out over 5 minutes.
Okay.
On these,
Yes.
so services, so there's the stack on this side for ERV R3,
Okay.
and then ERV R1 on the other, where we came up the other stairwell.
Okay.
And they're just gonna operate as they should be normally open all the time. And then in case of a fire, or a sense of smoke in a certain area, I'm not sure exactly how that's programmed, but it will close and shut off the air to the space. It gives you a little triangle. So you can see there's nothing, there's the batteries. If you can pull it down, and it will tell you on there, flashing green, it'll give you instructions on what it's doing and what it means. All right, counter door. Push button, stop, open, close. Press open, it opens. Press stop, it stops. Close is constant pressure to close, have to hold it the whole time. Whoever is operating is the safety. Once it's closed, manual operation is this. Pull that, and you can push the door up. It takes a little bit because you're fighting the gearbox, but pull that down, and that's manual operation. You have an overload right here. If it ever stops, check this black button. It might be popped out. Just push it back in. That's your overload. Your key switch, on and off. Turn it off. Buttons aren't going to work. You turn it on, buttons will work. It'll be open and it'll be momentary contact, unlike the one upstairs. You'll be able to press close because you have photo eyes on it. So momentary to open, momentary to close. Stop will stop. Your safety devices are your photo eyes. You have a red one and a green one. The red light and green light should be solid all the time. Red light flashing means something's red.
Alignment,
Alignment,
obstruction.
Yep. Won't close. If by chance you can't get it to work can't get it lined up, get that red light to go solid, if you hold close for like 15 seconds, it'll override the safeties and come down, but you'll have to hold the button the whole time. Then you got your safe edge, that's your oil cord, so if you hit something, it'll go back up. And then manual operation is just pull the chain one way, goes up, pull it the other way, comes down, and then you'll have your keypad on the outside, which is normal keypad. Press in your code, press down, go up.